cruise news time, and this one is a doozy. A story about a couple on the Norwegian Breakaway, quarantined right now. Why? Well, they went to a show. Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, this one started unraveling last night. Stories coming out from the Norwegian Breakaway about a quarantine situation. Now, we've got friends of the show that are on the Norwegian Breakaway, the YouTube channel Sharing at Sea, the YouTube channel The Ship Show, the YouTube channel Nautical Nurse Nancy. They're all cruising together in a big group, and a couple in their group, two people that are in their group cruising with them, have now been quarantined, and quarantined after going to one of the shows on board. What? Yeah, look, somebody in the comments yesterday is like, I don't want to go on a cruise because I'm afraid I'm going to get quarantined. And I'm like, that's not happening much anymore. And then whammo blammo, here it is. Well, here it is, kind of. I'm going to tell you the deets in just a second. But first, let me invite you to subscribe. Do you like getting all these cruise nuggets? Do you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising? Please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Here's the deets. Now, this cruise on the Norwegian Breakaway is a little tricky because they're going to Bermuda, and you got to sail a couple sea days to get to Bermuda, and there's some rules to get into Bermuda. So the passengers that were going on this cruise had to be fully vaccinated. It's a Norwegian cruise line. They're only accepting fully vaccinated. They had to show up to the embarkation port with a negative antigen test that was taken within 2 days of embarkation. And then at the embarkation port, they were all swabbed hard. Nautical Nurse Nancy on her channel, she did a live last night. She said it was intense. Swabbed hard for a PCR result. And the PCR result is primarily for getting into Bermuda, but those results don't come back right away. And so after they go through getting the swab for the PCR test, they get to go on the cruise and just enjoy that cruise life. They're not wearing masks on these NCL ships, and they're going to wait a couple days for those PCR results to come back. But there's no restrictions. Everybody can commingle together. I think and this is an assumption on my part, I think the logic is if somebody has a negative test 2 days prior to embarkation, if everybody's fully vaccinated and they have their vaccine documentation, they should be okay. They should have caught it there, and so no big deal to let people commingle while they're waiting for the result for the PCR test. Well, there may be a problem with that. This cruise started on Sunday, so they cruised Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. And Tuesday's when they had the problem. There's a couple with the group. They went to one of the shows there, and they were seated at a table with strangers. I've said it before, stranger danger. You don't need to be sitting with strangers on cruise ships, and this is just going to be one of those arguments that undergirds my social awkwardness. No. That's what happened. They were seated with a table of strangers to watch the show, and then after they watched the show, they were alerted that a couple at the show had tested positive for COVID on their PCR test. And because they'd spent like 15 minutes, more than 15 minutes, they're considered close contacts, and because of that, they're now quarantined to their cabin on the Ncl Breakaway. And what I'm gathering from the people that I'm talking to on that cruise ship is that they're not coming out of quarantine until they get back to New York City. This cruise left from New York. I don't think I said that. Can you imagine that? You've done everything that you could. You've done everything right. And then just by happenstance, you go to a show, you get seated with some strangers, and then those strangers turn out to be positive. And because of that, you are now quarantined. And I guess it's worth saying that they're not the only ones quarantined, right? You got the people that are COVID positive, and they weren't the only people at that table. So this could be more couples than we know about. We just know about these couples because they were with the group, or this couple because they were with the group. And look, I don't really know what's happening next. I don't know if they'll be compensated financially. Hopefully, when these folks get out of quarantine, they'll tell the story through some of those channels I mentioned. Make sure you're following Sharing at Sea, The Ship Show, Nautical Nurse Nancy, because this will be a story that they will tell. Let me throw the big obvious question at you guys. Does this turn you off to cruising? Does this make you pause? Certainly none of us want to go through that circumstance. Or are you still ready to cruise? Leave a comment below. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. Please show your support for the show by hitting the like button. And this is an old video. I know a lot of people haven't seen it. Have you ever wanted to play Titanic on a cruise ship? Not the sinking part, but the romantic part. check out this video. It's pretty fun. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.